And Devin, I will tell you, I was here a year ago and this community was barely unrecognizable. That was a month after Hurricane Ida hit this community. There are roofs that were missing off of homes. The floodwaters led to so many high water rescues, and not just here in La Place, but all across St. John Parish. They have people who were displaced from their homes, sent to shelters. There was no communication, and it was utter and complete chaos for this community. All in all, 95% of the structures in this community were damaged after Hurricane Ida, and there was no cell service. So you take all of that big combination and you have a disaster. Now, if you were to stand along this highway that I'm on, Airline Highway right now, here we are 1 year later, and it seems like everything is back to normal. Businesses, they have reopened. I've seen several people shopping in grocery stores, at the Home Depot across the street, and people have just been on and on about their lives. But then you think about the damage that's still in this community. Like the building that is behind me right now, that is an unfortunate sign that while a lot of us have moved on in our community, there is still a lot of work that needs to be done when it comes to the recovery in the St. John the Baptist Parish. Now, some of that work is already being discussed, of course, like a levee system that's being built by the Coastal Restoration Authority. They are talking about investing almost $1 billion, millions and millions of dollars, to build up those levees to protect areas like St. John the Baptist from those floodwaters from coming on in and causing those high water rescues. But then you run into the other issues that we're seeing, not just here in Louisiana, but across the world, supply chain issues, where people are not able to get access to the supplies that they need to restore their homes, to make sure that their homes can get fixed. And also think about this, the insurance issues that we've discussed. A lot of people say that 1 year later, they're still grappling with insurance adjusters, still trying to get all of the things done needed to fix their homes. So obviously this recovery effort 1 year later, though it may look like it's okay on the surface, things are still trying to pick up to the pieces so that they can truly get back to some sense of normalcy. Now, they're not just recovering here on the East Bank, but they're also recovering on the West Bank of St. John the Baptist as well. And that is where the Whitney Plantation Museum is located in Wallace, Louisiana. And let me tell you, there was a lot of damage to that plantation the last time I visited. So I went back 1 year later to meet with Dr. Joy Banner to discuss how they're coming along now. A familiar sound has returned to Whitney Plantation. Tour buses arriving.
I was happy to be open in December. I will tell you that there was so much that was up in the air. We couldn't even predict. I was speechless. I was heartbroken.
Dr. Joy Banner says despite the extensive damage experienced at Whitney and to the surrounding Wallace community, the Plantation Museum reopened just months after Hurricane Ida.
Every single structure on the site was damaged. And so, I mean, at sometimes we were thinking that we would literally not be open until a year later.
Several structures are still standing, though work continues 1 year later to fully repair the damage Ida caused.
So they're working on the church right now?
And they're working on the church. I have not seen the inside of it, and so I have purposefully not walked in there and seen it yet until we walk in there today. Oh my God. Oh, wow. Wow. We almost lost this church.
A year later, the church is still closed to visitors. But if restoration continues at this rate, Dr. Banner says it will be open in a matter of weeks.
So you just replaced the entire roof?
Yeah, and
entire roof and everything. This was just an empty shell.
That's the original church, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's it.
Wow.
So this is it before, this is it right after it was moved, and then there was some repair and restoration done at that point.
Okay.
So it's from a benevolent society.
Okay.
So it was created by emancipated men and women in the 1870s. The extent of history that it has with it, and then the amount of time that it has been in existence, again, it's a testimony to great work that it's been able to sustain these storms.
2 cabins were knocked down during Ida, but one is in the process of literally being pulled back up.
I remember this one leaning backwards.
Yes, this one was completely pushed off its foundation,
right,
which is why it was slanting off. And so the preservationists created this system of a chain and pulley,
right,
and literally wrenched it back onto its foundation.
Oh, wow.
Over the course of a month or two.
The work continues to repair the damage at some of the cabins, interpreting life from the perspective of the formerly enslaved. Dr. Banner says Whitney wanted those visiting the museum to know what happened.
So we had these panels installed when we opened up. At the time, we still had the debris and remnants of the cabins that we lost still on site. And we knew as visitors came in, they would wonder, so what happened to the cabins? Why have they collapsed?
And educating visitors on the impact of hurricanes to not only these historic structures, but the surrounding community as well.
And so as a staff, we were thinking about everyone's not only their physical safety, but also the psychological safety and comfort of our staff, who, as local people who work here, that have questions constantly about the hurricane, we didn't want that to be traumatic.
While most of the debris has gone away and the restoration efforts began on the cabins, Dr. Banner, a Wallace native and descendant of the formerly enslaved at Whitney, says every structure wiped off its slate on the West Bank is a loss to the community.
So it's just now a memorial, a monument to a family, to a house, to a history that was once there, at least structurally, that's not there anymore.
And that is certainly why Dr. Banner wants these families to be able to return home so that they can rebuild their homes and reclaim the area that they've grown up in so that they can continue to have a community in places like Wallace, Louisiana.